there making the world better by leading one person at a time. We are here. We're kicking it off not just with Thomas Ross, but a little bit of Sticks in the background because they sing about Mr. Roboto, Thomas, way back in the 1970s. But we're going to be talking about Mr. Roboto because Thomas Ross is going to talk to you about why your people are losing to his salespeople every single day because, and this is free, listen, because his people are using AI to make them bionic, not robotic. Thomas Ross, you are the fun coach. Welcome to Leadership Live, man. What are we talking about today, brother?
Hello, Donnie, and thank you for that introduction. And by the way, Styx is one of my favorite all-time bands. So I couldn't have started off any better than with Mr. Roboto. I never thought of myself that way, but I like it. I like it. I'm not changing fun coach, but I still like it. So all that said, yes, today we're here to talk about why you're still playing with AI and you're not actually turning it into revenue. And if that's true, then it's just a toy. So what we're here to talk about today is how do we turn that into money? And how do we turn your sales teams into 100% superstars rather than a couple, the old 80-20 rule, which, by the way, between you, me, and everybody else is BS. You're stuck with the 80-20 rule because you've accepted it. We're here to tell you, stop it. We're here to fix that and talk about why my sales reps beat your sales reps.
Oh, I love it. And for those of you who are leading, is there any more difficult job in the whole world than leading salespeople? And a part of it is, I think, Thomas, because a lot of us are working with the guesswork. In our last episode, Alex Consistion was talking about like people making like these fake projections and it's hit or miss. And boy, we've been blindfolded for since the beginning of time, I think, in sales, but not anymore, right? Not anymore. I want to know, Thomas, your origin. Like, how did you go from, you're still the fun coach, but how did you go from that into doing the heavy lifting with AI? Over 3,000 articles written, like courses everywhere. What started that? What sparked that?
So I've been sales training for more years than I'm going to admit. That's number one. And as I've been doing that over the decades, sales has changed a little bit, right? So when we started, we all watched the fax machine kick out all that garbage from the local pizzeria and everybody else that was selling toners. And I won't even start by telling people what a toner is. But anyway, I digress. That said, things have changed. And then we went to emails and we went to cold calling and we went to network opportunities in terms of lunch and learns and all those kinds of things. Some of those still can be effective, but now today, utilizing both the internet, social media, and all those areas, which I also spend a lot of time supporting people and doing better at, using LinkedIn, social media, social selling, that all now ties very nicely into AI. And what AI does is it allows us to sit on top of all of those different functionalities, not the fax machine, mind you, but all the more current ones, and turn them into data that we can utilize in real time while training and being the best we can be, right, on a 24/7 basis, even when we are, in fact, at dinner.
I love it. Real-time data that's actionable. I want to know, we're going to get into it. And by the way, every single leader that's on here watching YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, all the different places you're watching. If you're here in the actual Zoom link, please put your comments in because we want to answer your chat. We want to bring you into this conversation with Thomas. And so, but I want to know, Thomas, when you look at it out there, the vast majority of people are getting it wrong. What do you think? What are the big mistakes that you mentioned we see it as a toy or we're using it like a toy. What are we doing wrong out there?
Well, there's so many ways to answer that. So I'll start from the beginning, and that is what we're doing wrong is we've totally misunderstood, misconstrued, and in fact are treating our customers improperly. We're not giving them credit. In fact, our customers are doing better with AR than we are, right? They're making much better use than we are as professionals, and that's pretty sad. And because of that, they're avoiding us like the plague. and they could go
Mhm.
right around us, do a full circle, find out what they want before we even figure out what the heck they're doing, right? So we're chasing them all over the place. Meanwhile, they've already found a solution, like ours, quite likely, probably from our competitor, who did a better job positioning their brand using AI and then following up using AI and then feeding their sales teams using AI and getting results immediately rather than having a 9-month sales cycle because the sales rep can't get in touch with the right people.
Okay, so you
Does that does
mentioned,
that does that last
yeah,
part sound familiar to
th
anybody?
those are a few big bites. You mentioned positioning, so I think there's like everyone back in the day, like SEO was the big thing. That's now changed, and I want to know what the new version is. So we have positioning, we have the connection, right? Making the connection, then the follow up, which we know our salespeople generally don't, right? They lose track,
Let's not.
and
Let's
then
not. Yeah.
results. Like so, boy, like which one of those bites gives us the
Well,
biggest
every
impact
one of
there?
those bites is important because you can't finish the meal without all of them, right?
Well
So
said.
let's start from the start. So to begin with, positioning, right? So you asked about SEO. SEO is still important, right? It's not like it's been replaced. It hasn't been replaced. It's been augmented and it's evolved. And now we have something new, and people are using different acronyms. One's AEO, or answer engine optimization. The other is GEO, right? In either case, it's based upon AI finding the information about you and or your brand before anything else does. SEO does not do that because it's using tag words, right? And it's using keywords. And the old process that we've all come to learn over the last 25 years, which has now been basically overlapped with AI. So AI doesn't care about your keywords. It's not looking for keywords. It's looking for the answer. So somebody goes into a query and they say, which brand is best for my need to fix this?
Hmm.
And AI comes up with, boom, there's one, maybe two, sometimes three, but usually just one or two answers. And they go, wow, that's pretty cool. So they go there. The next thing they know, they're right involved, if it's been set up properly, with agentic AI, which is
Hmm.
now asking them more questions about what they need, is qualifying them as a potential customer, and puts them right in touch directly with a live salesperson in the sales process, right? So you saw how that worked. Okay. Now, if you didn't come up on that AI search, you don't exist and you do not have any chance in heck on that deal unless by chance, they have responded or are already in contact with somebody talking about that need.
So
You're gone.
you're telling me, and this is for all of us out there, anyone like look at your next chat GPT, or I use Perplexity or Google AI or any of these things. Look at the next time you search. You'll notice there's little links at the end. It's like the footnotes. Like the AI is starting to give footnotes. You're telling me, Thomas, that my company can be the footnotes in some people's search because I'm providing an answer, not just like tag words of what people are searching, but answers to those questions. And then you're telling me that when people click on it, it's not like the old days where someone just gets my phone number and they're going to reach out to me, but there's an agentic AI that can already speed up the sales process. Is
in
that
real
what you're?
time, in real time and immediately, right? And that's when it's been set up properly. And that's part of what we do. So we work with brands, clients, solutions, products in order to put that process together. So it starts with creating the opportunity for AI to find you in the first place. And I can tell you, for all the leaders that are listening now, 98% of you, your brand does not show up,
Hmm.
right? And there's an easy way to test that, and we provide some of that right from our website on a free basis. But without that, everything else is moot. Now you're still relying on the old methodology. Now, if your competitor is watching this and today goes out and reaches me because I'm a fun coach, I will help them put that together and they will beat you out by tomorrow,
Hmm.
right? And they will own it. And we've worked with companies like Intel and other large brands and medium and normal size manufacturers and distributions, solutions of all kinds. And we've done this for them and put them in place. But the key to this is number one, number two, number three, it's all about sales. It's all about revenue. This is all moot because I could care less what it does if it doesn't get to my sales team and they can't convert it. And that
S-
brings us to the next bite.
Tell
Yes?
us.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's go.
let's assume that we've accomplished that, which 99% of people haven't, but nonetheless. Once it gets to my sales team, how do I know that number one, they're going to pick the darn ball up? Number two, they're going to carry it to the finish line. And
Mm.
number three, they're going to get the touchdown, right? So that's what we're looking for. And AI can help me do that too. Sales reps do not get enough practice. You know, when your son or daughter went to swimming lessons or piano lessons or accordion lessons, that may have been a bad choice, but any kind of lessons, the only way they improved and got better, just as you did and still do, is by practice, 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 practice. Malcolm Gladwell said, nobody can master anything until they put 10,000 hours in. Let me ask you to ask your sales team, and maybe you know the answer already. Do you think any of them have hit 10,000 hours of practice?
Listen, I think that is the number one reason why salespeople fail is at bats, and then they haven't had enough at bats, so they're afraid of the next at bat. And I can't remember the name of the there's someone it's missing me, but repetition is the mother of all skill, right? So this is how we learn, and so
Doesn't stick.
it
Yeah.
doesn't stick. How so? And we can't do this as managers and leaders because it takes so much of our time. I mean, we should be doing some of it. How should we be leveraging AI to assist us with this part? Like, how does it come into the whole training matrix, Thomas?
And in my mind, this is the most critical part of the process because whether it's coming from our traditional methodologies, trade shows, or other lead generation systems that marketing are still using, which are all still good, they're just slowly and but surely being replaced by AI. But nonetheless, we're still getting leads. So my sales team still needs to have to know how to talk to and convert those leads. Problem is, they're not practicing. They're only doing a couple, a few a day tops. They're not reviewing what they're doing. So they simply go back in every day and repeat the same stupid thing they did the previous day. And they're not learning. What
Mm,
AI does is it does two things. A, it records and regurgitates that. And it brings them back to them and say, hey, you know what? You did a great job here, but you really sucked there. You
mm-hmm.
know, and we need to practice that. So now what we're going to do, Mr. Salesperson, Mrs. Salesperson, is I'm going to create a role-playing process with you, and I'm going to take that area of weakness, and you and I are going to practice that for the next 15 minutes till you get it right. And we're going to do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and there's your repetition, right? Because just because you got it today, I guarantee when I ask you the same question again tomorrow, you're going to screw it up again because we all do.
I love it. I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna put a pin in that for a second. I want to
Sure.
ask our audience that's out there if there was one thing that you could get your people to role play. And so imagine the scenario that Thomas just now presented this. What would be the one thing that would bring maximum impact to your team, to your players, to your salespeople? And then obviously, if you have any other questions, I'm gonna run through some of these real quick. Darren, appreciate the domo arigato. Uh, uh, Alex said he wished that his sales team was beating other sales teams. Um, and that's where I'm at. If you got it, throw it in there, and you will shape the conversation between myself and Mr. Thomas Ross. Thomas, why and how can we use AI to actually? How can we leverage AI in the role playing process and the repetition process? I, I I wish I could say AI don't lie, but I kind of think that when I talk to ChatGPT, it tells me everything I do is great and perfect, and I don't smell bad or any of those things. Like,
Yeah. That's a good thing. AI doesn't know how you smell. But nonetheless, that said, yes. And that's a really an important question. Now, every company, every sales manager, leader, organization may come at sales with their own methodology, their own belief system. That is to say, their own coaching style. Maybe they use challenger sales. Maybe they use some of the other more old-fashioned or common or newer, whatever. It really doesn't matter because what we can do is bring a coaching individual mentor that best responds to that and already has methodologies. And we have many coaches and mentors on the fuel system that allow us to do role playing with whatever methodology you want, right? And that's based upon their confined database and what they bring to it. It does not go outside of their purview. So if their background and information that we've got in our database is specific to that question, they can answer it. If they can't, they will tell you that's outside of my purview. I'd rather stick to something that was more related to what we can discuss. So you cannot screw
Can't
that.
bring it outside of the boundaries.
No, you
Okay.
cannot. So you can manage that. Furthermore, if our company is a big challenger sales organization, we can stick to that methodology. So we can organize that in a way that's impactful for you and your team. Add to that, for some of our brands and clients, they want to bring in their own team. They've got sales trainers internally. We can actually put them on the system and they can have their own library as well. So there's any number of different ways to do it. But at the end of the day, there's only one bottom line, and that is every day for half an hour. And I don't care if it's broken into two 15-minute periods, but 30 minutes a day as a bare minimum, and you don't want to know what the consequence is, but as a bare minimum, you are practicing. Because if I don't see you practicing every single day, then I know you're not going to get there. I don't care who you are. Right? That said, when that happens, we can measure it. We can see how they're doing. We can work with them to do even better. And by the time they get going, they're going to jump to an hour a day because they're going to enjoy it. They're going to see what it's doing to their own commissions, their own sales, and you're going to see what it's doing to your pipeline.
So we've got like, I don't want to say two ends of the spectrum here. We've got the one end where AI is doing all the things that you're mentioning through, you call it GEO or AEO. What do those stand for again? Who
So
knows?
answer engine optimization and,
Okay.
generative
Okay.
engine optimization. They both mean the same thing.
All right.
And all it really means is that we've created content, which can come in any number of different forms, that answers specific questions that we've identified that are our ICP or persona, our ideal customer profile, is asking. And that's something that we determine on behalf of a brand. So if you sell widgets, right, we need to know what type of customers buy your widgets. What do they look like? What do they sound like? What kind of questions are they asking? And we build the query system around that so that AI can find that and specifically find your ICP. Falls out
Hmm.
your ICP, right? Then we're not bringing it in.
Do you- Curious about of a question that, but we've got two ends. We've got the I'm going to go with the GEO for right now. It's easier. Geo, right? And then we've got the end of the pipeline.
Yes.
Those two things working together. What happens like can you describe what harmony looks like there and how we can achieve that as I have a team and I need my team there. How can we show us what that is? Give us a promised land, Thomas.
Well, number one, the first question you want to ask as a sales leader, right? And I think Alex just asked it, so I'll reiterate based on that, is how many people on my team are hitting their sales quotas or their pipelines? How many are hitting their targets? And furthermore, what's more important, how many are completing the activities needed to do that in the first place? Because one obviously leads to the other. Thirdly, and most importantly, as a leader, are we managing that by way of measuring it and building all of those elements into it? One of those elements is practice, 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 right?
Hmm.
We can have 22 meetings a day and that's fabulous. But if we suck in 21 of them, what's the point? Right? The whole point is I'd rather you have 2 meetings a day, but you knock those puppies out of the park, right? And you do that 5 days of the week, and now you're really making shite happen. And that's what this is about. It's making stuff happen. So you can't hit your forecast if you're not hitting the ball. You can swing the bat as many times as you want, but if you don't hit the darn ball, go home because I need a hitter.
Mm.
Not a water boy. So this is what we're all about. And that's what we're trying to say. The promised land is you need to sign up to myfuel.io today, and you need to register at myfuel.io today and get a trial. Or you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I will set you up. and I will get you going so that you can utilize this role-playing AI coach and start getting your team to be great. You know, everybody right now this time of year, and I talk to companies all day long, they're all doing their SKOs, right? So everybody's doing their sale kickoff meetings across the nation. And I love it because I do a few obviously myself, but the amount of money and time they spend on these things is outrageous. And who are they really doing it for? They're doing it for leadership. They're not doing it for the team because the team could care less, right? Leadership just wants to feel good, give the warm and fuzzies. They gave everybody a new mug with this year's logo, right? And they've hopefully pumped them up and given them a whole bunch of new shite and swag, and off they go, and they're going to have a great year. No, they're not. This year isn't going to be any different than last year because you did the same thing. Did you bring in a different dog and pony? Maybe, but still a dog and pony. So this is what hits the road and what makes the difference. And the cost of this is a fraction of what you spent on the sales kickoff meeting, right? So a fraction. So your cost per user, that is to say per sales rep using this, is a fraction. You don't have to buy a huge CRM. You don't have to buy an enterprise platform that, that everybody's possibly using and pay a lot of money for. It can be incorporated with whatever you're using, but the bottom line is you need to get people practicing today, not tomorrow, not next week, not at your next sales meeting. Now, get them practicing.
I'm going to go into some questions, but I'm going to throw it out there. So, Darren and Frank and Gary, like, how many people around you are not hitting their forecast, or how many people, like, as you see it, they're not connecting intelligently. You know, got Jack and Ronald, Steve. Throw some stuff out here for us, guys. We love what you're bringing in terms of viewing and watching and listening. Arthur, would love to hear what it is that you're seeing. Frank, loved the fact that you said shite. I think 3 times. We have a shite quota. I think I think we're in there. Now you like there's an interesting thing. We all can, like, some people are going full bore into this, but I still feel like they're expecting these things to provide answers. But one of the things I'm hearing you do, Thomas, is like there's a lot that has to do with input, and it has to do with questions. And even, like, have you ever, like, when you're talking about the GEO, how many times have you ever worked with someone and you realize, oh my gosh, they don't even know what their ideal, their ICP, they don't even know what these people think, feel, want, look, and search.
Yeah.
How often is that the case?
Much more often than I would like to say. And in that case, we need to go backwards a couple more steps and help them create that. If you don't know your ideal customer, then you're already behind and you're already swinging in the wrong baseball field, right? The lights aren't even on. So good luck with that. So you really got to determine that we can help with that whole process. And we've really got to help determine that. So if those customers coming into your sales team do not match what you're doing, then you're already throwing a volleyball at a baseball bat. So it's not going to work out real good. So we need to coordinate all that and manage all that. And we'll help you do that. Most organizations don't have that problem. They may not have it written down in a way that the perfect marketing organization would like, but they know what it is. We just need to help define that and put it in a way that measures up with the system. You asked about questions. One of the things that we find with role playing is people go on to role playing and they bring up the coach, and let's say it's Jeffrey Gittimer, by example. He's one of our coaches, and and Jeffrey Gittimer says, "How can I help you today?" And the sales rep goes, "Shit, I don't know. I'm sorry, shite, I don't know," right? And they get stuck. So what's important about this process? And you answered it, and it's a good question. What questions should we be asking? Rather than doing that, get the transcripts of your last meeting or video or both, pump it into the system, and let Jeffrey come back to you and say, "Wow, you really missed that one, didn't you?" That's
Like,
the start. Don't you figure it out. Let the coach do it. That's what they're for. And then you can really begin a process by which this can be properly. And now you can speak to what you're really missing, not what you think you're missing. Because I guarantee what you think you're doing and what you're really doing are not even close.
Boy, oh boy. Boy, all of us have these dumb little note taker things that follow us around and everything, right,
Yes,
Thomas? And it's like, just
yes.
how many of us are using? It's so funny. I have this little gadget that I wear that it's
Yeah.
limitless pendant, and it's like, how many of us are getting uh, unlimited amounts of information of stuff we've said and other people around us have said, but how many of us are actually going back and making inquiries of that information from your Zoom notes, from your Fathom notes? And boy, what a great way of doing that. And it doesn't take anyone's time. And this Jeffrey Gitomer, even though he's probably not going to say I'm an idiot. He's going to be honest, because, and
Oh,
it's gonna go.
and you know what? I mean, he's going to tell you what you did good first, because it always starts there, what you really nailed. But what you'll find after you've done meetings after meeting after meeting is what you did good. And I'm telling you this from experience, right? That is to say, I use this. So I don't just talk about it, I use it. And Jeffrey tells me what I did good. It's pretty much always the same, because I'm good at what I'm good at, but I'm also bad at what I'm bad at. So I also notice that the things that he's telling me I suck at all the time. Those are the things I need to work on,
Mm,
right? And we need to bring it full circle. We need to get good at all of it, not just, the friendly banter by way of how did your son's baseball game go last night? That's great. You need to build a relationship, but we're not here to talk about Little League, right? We're here to talk about how we can help you solve the issues that you have as an organization today. Let's get started.
I'm gonna throw a quick poll out. I'm really curious. Any of those who are on the call, you're Darren, Dale, Arthur, Alex. How many of you guys, Gary, Ron, Steve? How many of you guys are? We have AI get them around here. How many of you are actually going back and reviewing any of your transcripts or using any form of AI to actually take a look at what it is that you've said? You guys, by the way, all of us, you'd be surprised at how many brilliant things you say if you just take a moment to go back and review these things. How,
I've had people ask me in the past. I've got an answer to it now. They'll say, Thomas, what did you just say? And could you write that down and get that to us later? Because it was so good. And I'm thinking to myself, I haven't got a clue what I just said.
I I want to know this. So I'm assuming, and I know what happens when you assume. So I'm not. I could be way off. You've been a sales trainer for a long time. You're the
A
fun
couple of
coach. You
days.
train
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
couple of days. You've had, I would imagine, oftentimes people have appointment setters. They book you. You come and speak. You train. You do whatever. Since you and your team have turned to this, obviously, I know you're eating your own medicine. Can you think of a success story of any of your reps or any of the people who were using said strategies who have made a turnaround?
Yeah, it's funny you should ask, because one of the tech companies that we brought to market about a year and a half ago as an AI startup, we developed them with a couple of sales reps, and then now they're up to 15, I believe. And the 80/20 rule. And once we get them started with a go to market, they go on their own, and we may come back in every now and again. But the point is, when we did come back in again, they told us about the 80/20 rule, and they need to replace all these ones and get a whole bunch of new ones. And I said, yeah, so that's not what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. You've got great people, but you've got an awful system. You've got nobody managing them. There's no accountability, and there's no way for them to train except to go find Barbara, who in this case, right,
RIP. Yeah.
they can get her once a month if they're lucky, right? And that's just not going to do it. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring AI role playing, and we're going to bring AI coaching. We're going to get your team up to snuff, which, by the way, when I left, they were. I don't know what you did with them, but we're going to fix them, right? And we're going to get them up to speed. And in fact, in a couple of months, they moved completely away from that idea of replacement. And now the ratio has flipped the other way. So
Mm.
now we've got 80% that are top salespeople and 20% that are still struggling. And that's another conversation for another day. But the point being, that's the result.
Results going up against same numbers. I want to know this. Like obviously, I wanted to know first off, there are some people who are like, we want the like Thomas, please, we want to talk with you. We want to talk to your company, solve our pain. We want to know where we can get you. So drop us that info again. But also, if someone like, well, actually, give us that info, and I want to key it up with a final question here that I
Sure.
think will give some people a little bit of fire.
Sure. I'm sorry. What was the question?
Where Thomas, tell us again where we can get engaged with you
You
because
know,
we know we want the
the
power of AI.
easiest way, there's two emails. I work directly with myfuel.io with respect to their system and putting it in place. So you can get me at Thomas at myfuel.io, and or you could get me on LinkedIn. So you can see me on my LinkedIn profile. I should know that LinkedIn uh, by heart, but guess what? I don't.
Thomas Ross. Just find Thomas Ross
It's got
on,
that much going. I believe it's Thomas Ross Social Sales, but let me just take a look at that.
or if you type in Thomas Ross Fund Coach, you'll pull up too.
Thomas Ross Social Sales. There it is. Thomas dash
Oh,
Ross
social sales.
dash Social Sales.
All
Yeah, and
right.
you'll find me, and you'll see tons and tons of videos. You'll see lots and lots of articles, as you mentioned. But most importantly, you can reach me, and I like to consider myself a fun coach, and we will help you make the progress you're looking for.
All right. Well, we're going to end up with a final question here, and then any questions the audience has. If there's a question, audience questions, bring those to the forward. And Thomas, who's already been gracious with his time, hopefully you can get to those. Here's my question.
Good.
Thomas, you're dropped off. You're in a parallel world. Okay. We've got Mr. Roboto, like he's asking for your secret. Here you are. You are now in the middle of a place to where you know what you know, and you've been given a sales team, but we don't have what you offer. There's no other company doing what you do, other than starting that company. Like what would you do immediately today to engage AI for your team so that your team again would start outselling every one of the other teams that they're going up against?
Well, here's the thing. The absolutely easiest thing to do is to do what we're suggesting, and that is go to myfuel.io and start using a role-playing AI coach immediately. Like now.
It's super cheap, by the
You
way.
don't
You
need
should
to set it
you should
up.
be doing it. Yeah.
It's super cheap. You don't have to worry about a big program. You don't have to worry about your IT department coming down and wondering what the heck you're doing. So you can start that today. We talked about it at first. You have to practice, 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 right? And that's your start. Now, there's all sorts of other AI things you can do, but that's not going to have the impact that that one step will take. Start role playing and practicing today. It's only noon where I am, so you still got 4 or 5 hours. I'd love to hear from you to hear how you did.
I love it. Any questions from the audience before we wrap it up? Gary, Frank, Darren, Dale, Justin, AI Gittimer, Alex, Arthur, whoever, all of you, there's random numbers. Anyone out there, you got something, you got the man himself right here with me. And I've got to tell you, as we prepare to say goodbye, Thomas, it is like, you know what? You've lived up to the billing. You are the fun coach. And you took something that can be, it can feel honestly daunting. Oh, I'm not doing enough. Even the feeling of like, oh, you're behind, and have you tried
Yeah.
this, one of these billion AI tools out there, and you've created simplicity, you've created fun, you've created lightness today here with me today. I'm looking curious about the industries represented on this call. Oh, one person said they're in mortgage. Other people can throw in their industries. B2C versus B2B. There's people interacting over there, but boy, yeah, there's so much in here that is, even the GEO, like, how many people are even leveraging? And this is the Wild West. There's no one out there that's claiming this
By the
land.
way, because of that, it's relatively easy and quick to own it so that your
Yes.
phone comes up every single time. But you know what? 3 months from now, 4 months from now, it's going to cost you a fortune to do that.
So
Remember,
now
I
is the
said,
time to act.
yeah,
Boy, we got tech, we've got B2C. Well, Thomas, thank you for being with us. I am in the middle of your course right now on fuel
nice.
and enjoying it. I know that you're going to become one of the most attended courses there. Thanks for hanging with us, and I look forward
That's,
to. I'm excited that I got to actually meet you in person. You're better in person than you are in video. I like both.
thank,
I like both Thomases. I like both. So, but thanks
thank
thanks
you.
for being with us today.
Thank you, Donnie.
All right, leaders out there, listen, We know that if you can lead better, you can live better, and we hope that we have helped you to be just a little bit better